Exactly 6 p.m. in Cairo. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Time to look up at the news bulletin from Channel 2. But allow me first to welcome my dear colleague, Myrna. Hello, Myrna.
Hello, Hanin. Hello. Welcome, dear viewers. And we're going to start our news bulletin with the headlines. President el-Sisi asserted talks with Estonia's president affirmed their consensus over boosting bilateral relations. President el-Sisi congratulates U.S. President-elect Trump over winning the White House. 16 Palestinians, including women and children, killed in Israeli war in Gaza on its 397th day.
Welcome back. The news in full. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi welcomed the Estonian President Alar Kassar and expressed his desire to enhance bilateral coordination during the coming stage. Addressing a press conference on Wednesday following their talks in Cairo, the president said that he and Karas exchanged points of view over regional and international issues of mutual concern through holding rounds of political consultations and exchanging periodic visits. President el-Sisi said that Egypt considers the Palestinian cause and the region's core. On the escalating situation in the Middle East, the two leaders called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza and Lebanon. For his part, Karas thanks President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi for his generous reception and reiterated that the two sides agreed on fostering joint cooperation, especially in fields of energy.
President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi greeted U.S. President-elect Donald Trump after overwinning the U.S. presidential election on Wednesday. In a message posted on his official social media account, President el-Sisi wished Trump all success in realizing the interests of the American people. The president further said he was looking forward to joint Egyptian-U.S. efforts to establish peace, maintain security and stability in the Middle East. The head of state expressed hope for enhancing Egyptian-U.S. strategic partnership at both the state and popular levels. President el-Sisi affirmed that the two countries had presented a successful pattern together in achieving joint interests of the two friendly nations. He asserted that he was looking forward to continuing their cooperation amid challenging circumstances the world is passing through.
Well, Donald Trump claimed a magnificent victory over Kamala Harris in the fight for the presidency on Wednesday, as results put him on the verge of one of the most stunning comebacks in the U.S. political history.
The U.S. media announced on Wednesday that Donald Trump has won the presidential election, beating Democrat Kamala Harris to complete a stunning political comeback. Earlier, Trump claimed victory and pledged to heal the country. As jubilant supporters heard and chanted USA, Trump took the stage at his campaign headquarters in Florida, along with his wife Melania and several of his children. U.S. networks have called the swing states of Pennsylvania, Georgia, and North Carolina for the 78-year-old, and he led the Democratic vice president and the others, although they have not been called yet. Trump's victory returns him to the White House after a long, bruising campaign that saw the Republican right out to assassination bids and a criminal conviction. And a further blow to Democrats, Trump's Republican Party also seized control of the Senate, flipping 2 seats to overturn a narrow Democratic majority. Millions of Americans had lined up throughout Election Day, and millions more voted early in a race with momentous consequences for the United States and the world. Trump has vowed an unprecedented deportation campaign of millions of undocumented immigrants in a campaign full of dark rhetoric. He has indicated he will cut aid to Kiev's battle against the Russian invasion.
U.S. media also reported that Republicans won a U.S. Senate majority, wrested from Democratic control, ending 4 years in the minority and providing a huge boost to the party in its quest to dominate every branch of the government. Congressional elections run alongside the White House race. The U.S. Capitol is divided into the House of Representatives, where all 435 seats are up for grabs, and the 100-member Senate, which has 34 seats at stake this year. However, neither party appeared to have an edge in the fight for control of the House of Representatives, where the majority could take days to be decided.
And reacting to the initial results of the U.S. elections showing Trump's victory, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas congratulated Donald Trump, expressing confidence that he would support Palestinians' legitimate aspirations for statehood. In a statement carried by the official Palestinian news agency Wafa, Abbas reaffirmed that the Palestinian commitment to the pursuit of freedom, self-determination, and statehood in accordance with international law. And a senior of Hamas official urged Trump to learn from Biden's mistakes.
Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Egyptian Expatriates Affairs Badr Abdelati held a press conference with Cameroonian counterpart. Egypt's top diplomat stressed the deeply historic ties binding Egypt and Cameroon since 1960. Abdelati said at their meeting he received a message from the President of Cameroon to President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi that reflected the deeply rooted ties. The foreign minister added that both sides reviewed means of enhancing cooperation in various fields, namely trade, energy and green hydrogen fields. For his part, Cameroon's foreign minister stressed his country's keen interest in achieving stability on the economic and political levels, adding that his country seeks to achieve developments in the industrial and agricultural sectors.
Minister of Foreign Affairs, Migration and Egyptian Expatriates Badr Abdelati reasserted Egypt's rejection of attempts to force Palestinians out of the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. At a press conference following talks with his Dutch counterpart Caspar Veldkamp in Cairo on Wednesday, the top diplomat said that Egypt's making extensive efforts to ensure an immediate ceasefire in Gaza and the flow of aid and the besieged territory. Abdelati also asserted that Egypt will not neglect its rights in Nile River waters. The minister also said bilateral ties should be boosted along with the political consultations and cooperation on economic, trade and investments fronts.
16 Palestinians, including women and children, were killed and others wounded as Israeli bombardment hit houses across the territory on its 397th day. Israeli airstrikes region southeast of Khan Yunis in southern Gaza. Another house in the central Nusayrat camp and an apartment in the Tafah district in the northern city of Gaza, a district in the southern Rafah city.
And moving on to the development or latest development in Lebanon, as Lebanon's Civil Defense Service said that they had pulled 30 bodies from the rubble of a department building that Israel struck the night before in the town of Bereja, north on the port city of Sidon. Meanwhile, Israel's military carried out strikes on the southern Lebanon city of Nabatea after issuing evacuation orders for a specific neighborhood in this city. There were no immediate reports of casualties. More than 3,000 people have been killed in Israeli strikes on Lebanon over the last year, the vast majority in the past 6 weeks.
Sirens blared across northern and central Israel on Wednesday, including in Tel Aviv, as Hezbollah launched 10 rockets towards Israel. Hezbollah said it had fired missiles at an Israeli military base near Israel's main international airport on Wednesday, the first such attack in more than a month of war. In a statement, the group said the salvo of missiles had targeted the military base near Ben Gurion International Airport, south of Tel Aviv.
Arab League Secretary General Ahmed Abu Ghaid affirmed that the pan-Arab organization's unwavering position towards Sudan, which is based on maintaining its sovereignty, territorial integrity, and non-interference in its domestic issues. The remarks came during his meeting with Sudan's newly appointed Foreign Minister Ali Yusuf Al-Sharif, and the Sudanese top diplomat appreciated the Arab League's efforts in support of the Sudanese state and its institutions with the aim of restoring peace and stability in Sudan.
Russian lawmakers on Wednesday voted unanimously to ratify a landmark mutual defense pact with North Korea, as Kyiv and the West say Pyongyang sent thousands of troops to fight for Russia against Ukraine. The agreement formalizes months of deepening security cooperation between the two nations. Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un signed the Strategic Partnership Treaty in June during the Kremlin chief's visit to Pyongyang.
And coming back to our domestic news, as Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli instructed to move forward in implementing the economic reforms after the International Monetary Fund praised the commitment and the strength of the actions taken by the state in this regard. As he chaired the weekly cabinet meeting, Madbouli said that the decision by Fitch rating agency to upgrade Egypt's rating from B- to B for the first time in 4 years with a stable future outlook sends a message of confidence in the national economy. The Prime Minister noted that Egypt's unprecedented achievements over the past years in the urban development field, despite surrounding regional crisis, enabled Cairo to host the 12th session of the World Urban Forum.
The 12th World Urban Forum continued its activities today in Cairo. Today's session focused on bringing the financing gaps to speed up the implementation of the National Sustainable Development Objectives in cooperation with the United Nations. The forum, held under the auspices of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, which runs through November 8th, is organized by the United Nations Human Settlements Program, Habitat, in collaboration with the government. World leaders and experts are gathering to discuss urgent global urban issues such as housing crisis, climate resilience, and social equity. The forum focuses on building alliances for the implementation of the new urban agenda and the UN Sustainable Development Goals.
And coming up to the economy news, as Egypt's bourse closed higher today amid purchases by local and Arab investors as well as local corporations against sell-offs by Arab and foreign investment funds. The market capital of listed companies added 16 billion Egyptian pounds, reaching 2.2 trillion pounds at the end of transactions. The benchmark index EGX 30 rose to 0.82% above the 31,045-point mark. The equal-weighted indices, EGX 70 and EGX 100, climbed 1.8% and 1.16% respectively.
Moving to the sports news, where Liverpool's Luis Diaz scored a hat-trick as they maintained their perfect Champions League campaign with a second-half display in a 4-0 victory over Bayer Leverkusen at Anfield. The Reds led the standings of Europe's elite club competition with their 4th win in 4 matches, with Aston Villa the only other team with a 100% record. Leverkusen are 100th in the Champions League standings with a pair of wins, a draw and a loss.
And Champions League holders Real Madrid fell to 3-1 home defeat by AC Milan in the group stage. Real Madrid are distinguished in 17th place in the Champions League table with 6 points, 1 spot ahead of Milan on goal difference after 4 games. This next match is away against Liverpool. Well, by this, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of our news bulletin for now. Always, for more news, please join us at our website. And many thanks for watching. Thank you, Marina.
Thank you, Hannah, and thank you, dear viewers.